Hello, greetings, and welcome to my channel. This is Queen Elle. I am so excited that you're here with me today. And if you don't know my background, I'm being new to the tarot reading profession. Please feel free to visit one of my earlier videos. Please note that when I make reference to a deck, I'm referring to the Universal Waite tarot deck. And I purchased this on Amazon. There is the original Rider Waite tarot deck, and that is the more traditional one. However, the Universal Waite deck, this one is what spoke to me, and also the mass reproduction of these decks, sometimes based on reviews that I read, has them kind of all helter skelter as far as how the cards are turning out, the cut, the color, everything. So the purpose of this video is I'm still acclimating myself to my deck, and I'm wanting to really just connect with my deck as best as possible. And something that I read about in my research was to do an interview spread. And I thought that it was a perfect idea, just the concept of ultimately interviewing your deck. I already went through a blessing of my deck this morning, so there's a video on that I can attach. And but to before starting to do pulls and do readings, I wanted to really to um, do this interview just to learn what I am expected to get from this deck, what my guides and angels feel that we can learn from the deck, as well as some strengths and weaknesses of the power that my intuition through the deck possesses. Because, like I said, the deck by itself is just a deck of cards, it's paper. However, when you tap into your intuition with this deck in conjunction with it, it's quite powerful, and I'm very excited about it, like I keep saying. So without further ado, I have shuffled this deck. Now, one note that I do want to make is there is a wrong way to shuffle. So I like to consider myself quite the card shuffling connoisseur. However, something that I read earlier today, I kept seeing all of these how-tos regarding shuffling cards, and I thought, wow, there are actually people that don't know how to shuffle cards. But the interesting thing that someone mentioned is there is a wrong way to shuffle the deck, because unless, I would say, even if you are someone that's reading reversals or inverted cards in the deck, you don't want to deliberately invert cards to when you're getting ready to do a reading. You want it to be natural and organic in the way that those inverted cards happen. So what I did was when I split my deck, so let's say I split it to shuffle. When I split a deck to shuffle, I go like this. And so, okay, so I wanted to hold this deck in this hand. So if you see what I did, so the cards are both, they're facing the same direction. Okay. So I split the deck. I immediately turn my thumbs. I have small hands, so that's why it might look like this. I immediately turn my hands like this, and I use my knuckles in. I've watched a video where someone said not to do that. I think they were just talking about the integrity of the cards, because when you use your knuckle, you're kind of nudging them in like that. However, again, I have very small hands. So for me, if I don't put my index finger in, it's just super hard for me to get a grip on them. But this way makes it easier for me. So, and also the cards are quite sturdy, as you would imagine from a new deck. So anyway, if the cards are facing the same direction, I turn my hands outward and I get ready to shuffle like this. Well, the problem is when you shuffle like this, it's going to actually I feel like, yeah, so it's okay, I'm right. So it's going to make the cards like this. So now the bottom of this card will be at the same place as the top of this card, and that's not what you want to do. So when you split your deck, even though you go like this, you want to then turn. What I did was I turned one of my halves around like this, and then I shuffled. And because I was still shuffling like this, now they're bottoms to bottoms. They're like lined up like this. And so that's how I was able to do it the right way. So, um, anywho, I'm going to go ahead and do one shuffle just because, just that quick, I can't remember what was on the top and what was on the bottom. So I am going to do a quick little shuffle through, and I want to go ahead and cut my deck. So I'm cutting from left to right, cutting twice, once, twice, then I'm picking them up from left to right, one, then two. And now I have a interview list of questions that I found from, I found it on tarotlove.com, and love is spelled L-U-V as in Victor, so that's TAROTLUV.com. And just searching for interview spreads because I've been reading about them and I just wanted to do one that I felt spoke to me. So this one, it says that the actual interview spread and questions came from Star Raven at Eclectic Forums. And I have learned a lot of people got a lot of information from the Eclectic Forums. So feel free to visit that website. And eclectic is spelled AECLECTIC forms. So, with that being said, we're going on to this interview spread. So now I just want to just center myself with regard to this deck. And then I have 6 questions that I will ask, and I'll pull cards with each question, and we'll just see what the deck wants me to know about it. Okay. So let me center myself, and deck, this is me and you, and I just want to know what you want me to know and how we can connect. And now, the first question is, tell me about yourself. Okay, so tell me about yourself, deck. I pulled the Strength card. So this has the Roman numeral 8 at the top, and it says Strength at the bottom. So the first thing, without even viewing the image, I feel like the deck is telling me that there's strength in it. And that gives me a feeling of reassurance, like a warm and fuzzy feeling. I love it. So the image has the infinity sign over the woman, so she has the infinity sign over her head. Also, there's some greenery around her head, like a wreath. And the same type of greenery is also around her waist. And I noticed that she has a white gown on, and I know that white is a sign of purity. So, or that's supposedly what that is a sign of. So there's a lion. I know that the lion is representative of strength and being the king of the jungle, etc. So it looks like the lion is looking up at the woman in an endearing and loving way. And just the look in the lion's eyes. I think it's amazing that the illustrator was able, and the illustrator is Pamela Coleman Smith, who was the original illustrator of these Rider-Waite tarot decks. And it was repurposed by Mary Hanson Roberts. She recolored the images. But I think it was amazing how Pamela was able to capture such a loving look in the lion's face. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And like the lion has their tail, but his tail's between his legs, and so I feel like that's almost in a sign of reverence to this woman. And so the deck is telling me that that it represents strength, and I feel it. I'm all for it. So the next question is, what are your strengths as a deck? So tell me, what are your strengths as a deck? Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups. Okay. So I do know that, and I mentioned in my last video, I was talking about 3 cards that, well, 2 cards that stood out to me and that jumped out at me, and then I pulled a third. I do know that there are several suits within the deck, but I have not read specifically about them on purpose. It's by design because I want to acclimate myself to each card individually and take notes in my journal before actually reading about what the cards are supposed to represent. So I know that the cups are one of the suits. The others that I could remember are the swords and the pentacles. So this is the Queen of Cups. And so we know that the Queen, that's royalty, and that's the supreme divine woman is the Queen. And so, Queen of Cups. Now, looking at this image of the cup, I do see that. I mean, it looks like it's almost a goblet, but it has that display at the top of it. And it's quite interesting. Now, she is looking at it in an interesting manner. So it's not the way her head is tilted down and just kind of staring at it. Um, the my apologies. The chin dip down, I would say, could be synonymous with um, a form of reverence, the downward look, versus a if the let's say the cup was down lower and she was just looking down on it. Um, so I'm not quite sure. Now, looking at the image of the throne that she's on, interestingly, she appears to almost be on an island or the tip of an island because I see the land that she's on, but she's on the edge, and then there's some water that is surrounding this edge of land. So looking at the rocks that are right there, it's like she's at the edge of a beach and she's facing the water. And there's also water surrounding her because right here on this edge, you could see some more water. So I'm not sure why she's surrounded by water. The sky is blue, which means it's a fairly clear sky. I do see, looking at this cup, I see these little images. Let's zoom in a bit more. These little images almost appear to be angels. They appear to almost be angels turned sideways, so their wings are all in one. It's like a profile of an angel. That's what stands out to me. And yes, so that's what stands out to me. So the Queen of Cups, this is what your strength is as a deck. And when I think of cups, I think of something that is holding something. So if you're saying that your strength as a deck is to be the Queen of Cups, so you are taking a load and holding on to it, then that gives me another sense of reassurance. So place that down. And the cards, the order that I see, they're going around in a circle and actually in a counterclockwise circle. So one, two, and actually no, they're going crisscross. But the shape is an oval shape, but it starts with one, and then there's trying to point it from your direction. One, then there's two, then across three, then back over here 4, 5, and then 6. So the third question, what are your limits as a deck? What are your limits as a deck? So this image just has the number 10 at the top in Roman numerals. I would venture to say that there are probably 10 of these little goblets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 exactly. And this is a rainbow. I love rainbows. I love the image that these goblets are in the sky along the rainbow. I see the family down at the bottom, and the couple is has their arms raised. They're embracing each other still, so that's a sign of unity to me between the two of them. but they still have their arms raised towards the sky and towards those goblets, I would imagine. And then there are the children playing. Um, and then in the distance, there appears to be a home. There's the water. And whenever I see flowing water, the way it was drawn, it looks like it could be flowing. However, I see that the water ends right there. So it's not necessarily flowing freely. Maybe it's flowing outward and into the area that we can't see, but it's not necessarily a free flowing stream of water. So there's no continuity there. Um, hmm. But it's such a bright day. And to me, the rainbow is synonymous with just overcoming. And when you think of how a rainbow typically comes after a rainy day or at the break of a rainy day, I feel like in my mind, whenever I see a rainbow in the natural sense, to me, a rainbow, it's just reflective of just kind of the rainbow, like the sunshine after a storm. That's how I feel when I see a rainbow. Just that you can live to see another day. So this is saying when I ask, what are your limits as a deck? Now I'm not sure if the deck is saying the limits are that the deck is not going to be the end all be all and give me all the answers that I'm looking for or that anyone else is looking for. And I definitely can appreciate that sentiment that the deck is a deck and I will use my intuition through the deck, but the deck will not give me all the answers that I seek, not every single answer to every single question. There will be times that I will need to tap into my own intuition to still lead the way for myself and for others. So that's the third one. The fourth one, what are you here to teach me? What are you here to teach me? Ooh, okay. So here's another one. Now this has the 10 still at the top, but look at these swords. So there are 10 swords, but they are stabbing this man in the back. The man, I'm assuming, is dead and has passed on because I see blood that is flowing underneath him, and his arm and his hand look so relaxed and limp. The red, so I said in a previous video that to me, red represents warmth and love. I mean, obviously, red can mean blood, but in this case, there is what appears to be a blanket of sorts, some type of cloth or covering that's covering this man. It's not a part of his garb, but it's draped over him nonetheless. And these, I'm sure there are 10, yes, these 10 swords. I mean, it's quite vivid. The black sky, the, um, I mean, it looks like the sky could have been bright at some point, but in this particular area, this scene, the sky is not just overcast, it is black, it is dark. Um, that gives me a sense of almost impending doom. And if we were looking at it in a figurative sense and not necessarily in the literal sense, I would think that this means, and because this is the answer to the question, what are you here to teach me? Um, I'm not sure if the deck is saying that it's here to teach me how to um, separate myself. I always think of separating myself from things that no longer serve me, killing or ending a part of myself. If it will help to bring clarity in some areas to help me to just to kill some things from my past that are still lingering in my mind, in my heart, not deliberately, but they just are. So that's how I receive that. So that is question 4. Question 5, we have 2 more to go, almost finished. Question 5 is, how can I best learn from you? So deck, how can I best learn from you? Okay, we have the Ace of Wands. We know, if you know anything about cards themselves, the ace is, that's it, that's the top. Now, there are some cards where ace is considered high or low, but I always view it as high. So the ace is the top of the totem pole, and this is the ace of wands. So this stick is representing a wand. It does have some branches with some leaves. Um, Now, what I would say initially is the leaves, when I see a branch, like branches with leaves, I see new life. I see growth. I see some sort of rejuvenation. However, some of the leaves are falling. And so when I see green leaves that are falling, there's something that I feel is disrupting it. Now, I would imagine a wand being shaken, this branch being shaken, because dead leaves fall. Leaves that are not dead do not fall. And since the leaves are green, the only way I would imagine that they're falling is if the wand is being shaken. So the wand is being held by a hand that's literally in thin air with the cloud around it, almost like the hand came through a cloud and with this branch or wand, and it's just shaking like almost shaking a stick at me. So this was my question 5: how can I best learn from you? And so if it's going to teach me how to be the ace of wands, how to be that voice, be that person who can help to guide others. I mean, when I think of shaking a stick, I think of just kind of being that leader and the visionary, and being the one to kind of guide everyone else's footsteps, and like the kind of the leader of the pack. And I've never been a pack type of person. I've typically considered myself the loner and the standalone. But if that is what the deck will teach me and what I could best learn from it, then I'm all for it. So well, what it's here to teach me is this. So that's interesting. So maybe killing some parts of myself off so that I can learn to be this ace of wands. So I received that. So the next one is, what is the potential outcome of working with you? So deck, what is the potential outcome um, of working with you? What is my potential outcome? Okay, so this one is 9. This looks like the 9 of cups. And um, for this one, so we have the 9 cups. I love the symbolism of the yellow. It's kind of like a mustard yellow. I've noticed with some of the other cards that um, what I said when it looks like an image of a sky is, to me, it's like a bright sunny day, and I just feel like it's just the light shining bright on us all, and I love that. So the radiance of it all. So in this case, though, this is saying, what's the potential outcome of working with you? This gentleman, he has such a smug look on his face, almost like a smirk. It's a smile, but it's something about it that looks really cheeky to me. So he's sitting there, and of course it's his demeanor, and he has those arms crossed and his legs at a certain stance, and it just looks bold and it looks powerful, and um, it looks like he's almost calling the shots. I mean, he's sitting on this bench, but it's like he's almost sitting like holding court, or sitting guard over these cups. So that's my impression. And they're all on this table. So it's quite interesting. I mean, I love red. So there's that symbolism of the color red again. And to me, red meaning warmth and love. And so he has the red socks, he has the red little hat on his head. And I love how it even has like the little feather sticking out. So um, this gives me a pleasant feeling, almost like a lighthearted manner. So knowing that this is the potential outcome of working with the cards, I'm all for it. Again, I'm here for it. I'm ready to receive it. So that is my interview with my new Universal Waite tarot deck. I'm so excited to start working with it. Deck, I'm so excited that you chose me to be your new owner. So, like I said, I'm just glad that you're here with me on this journey. Thank you so much for watching another video. This has been Queen Elle, and please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to connecting with you even further and going on this journey through tarot reading and essentially spirituality with you. So, have a blessed afternoon. Take care.